Is there any problem with copyright?
Potentially, but I don't think it would. I think it's unlikely.
I'm just because I know some of them are pretty,
Right.
so just, it's, like I said, it's curiosity.
Yeah. Is it possible? Yes. Is it probable? I'm sure not.
How's the travels? Good.
How are you? Nice to see you. It's been a while.
Did Joanne? Yeah, let me run upstairs real quick.
I can you finish studying on
I think I'm pretty much ready to go.
Good. How are you? You're looking at my notes, were you? All right.
Rose just ran upstairs to grab a pen, so we'll start as soon as she gets back. For those of you in the back, if you're not familiar with the library, we've got bathrooms right outside the hallway, and there's also a drinking fountain with like a bottle filler. So if you've got a bottle and you want to fill it up with water, that's right outside there as well. And then obviously for emergency, we've got the fire exit right there, and then there's also the main stairway over there. Waiting for Joanne.
Okay. There's a guy up there that they're gonna write up.
Say again?
There's a guy up there on Mountain Door, that they're gonna write him up because he keeps saying swear word or something.
He is one of our challenging patrons. This is not a first thing of his. We're good to go? Alrighty, so we got the go-ahead from Joanne. Thank you, everybody, whether you're here for school or for general interest or if you're applying for the trustee vacancy. Thank you all for coming today. Right now, the county of Cook is in a medium level of COVID transmission. So the CDC recommendations, if you're an at-risk person, you'd be recommended to wear a mask, but we're not requiring them at this time. So that's why some of us are wearing them, some of us are not. Should Cook County go back into a high level of transmission, we'll probably be going back to requiring masks for everybody. But for right now, it's just an encouragement. It's not a requirement. As I mentioned, we've got the washrooms and drinking fountain right outside. And I guess I'll go ahead and turn it over to our board president.
Awesome. Okay, well, thank you. Today is Wednesday, May 25th. It is 6:03 p.m. So I call to order our general meeting at 6:03.
Sam,
Yes.
Natasha,
Here.
Edgar,
Yes.
Sylvia? Yes. Marge, yes. Rosa?
Yes.
I think I forgot to add this to the annotated agenda. So if we wanted to have, before we do the consent agenda, we could do the interviews right away.
Yeah. But that we can go into closed session, right?
Right, exactly.
Okay, cool.
And that should be on, no, so here, if you want, let's do that since it's elevated.
Got it. All right. So today, one of the first things on our agenda, we kind of moved it around a little bit, is we have a position to fill, vacancy for Elizabeth Ortiz's seat. And then so we are going to request that we go into a closed session to interview the candidates for the library trustee per 5, how do I say this, ILCS?
Yes.
Yep. So do we need a vote for going into closed session?
Yes.
Yeah.
We need a motion to go into closed session.
Right, so I motion to go into closed session.
Second.
Okay. Sam?
Yes.
Natasha?
Yes.
Edgar?
Yes.
Sylvia? Yes. Mark? Yes. Rosa?
Yes.
Let's go first.
Thank you. All right, so for closed session, what that means for our audience today is we're going to ask that you guys politely kind of go upstairs or hang out. We will call you when we are back into open session. At this time, we want Lourdes to stay, and then we'll go over your interview, and then after we're done with you, we'll go over with Deb, and then once we're done with Deb, then we'll invite the rest of the team back. So thank you.
So all the trustees, you should have a copy of the applications that both applicants had provided to us.
Ready?
Thank you.
And you want me to stay or go as well?
You can stay.
Okay.
All right, awesome. Well, Lourdes, so my name is Rosa. We are your current library board trustees. Thank you for coming. We have your application here, a little bit about you, but if you can tell us just kind of a little bit what's not on the paper.
Okay, so I have an undergrad degree from Southern Illinois and a master's from Roosevelt University. I've been in the marketing field for nearly 10 years and just changed my career over to a nonprofit organization. So now I'm working in the nonprofit industry, and I'm still doing a little bit of marketing for them, but more of a focus on grants. I'm reviewing grant applications currently for our organization, and from there I'm approving or denying the organizations based on their mission. I need to make sure that their missions align with ours, and so that's what I'm currently doing. And then along with that, I do other administrative stuff. The organization I work for is RPM, and it stands for Restoration, Preservation, and Mentorship. And we are currently working to retain the knowledge to restore and preserve the skills for restoration and preservation. And we also support career paths that encourage students to go into the industry of restoration.
Awesome, thank you. Now, have you ever served on a board before?
No, I've been on committees. I've sat on committees, and a lot of them have been fundraiser committees.
Okay.
So.
Are you currently on our Friends?
I am not. I just learned about it while I was looking online. So.
Oh, okay, nice. And then, is there any specific reason why you want to apply now for being on the board?
So I'm part of the community. I've been here 4 years now, and my son a few months ago told me the library is a magical place, and he asked me why we stopped coming. The library was the place where I would bring him when he was younger, and we would spend a lot of days here while I was working from home for a while, and he really enjoyed it, and so it made me start to think like, yeah, why haven't we been back to the library? And we really relied on the events and the services that the library provided for my son, and I got to be part of that growth. So.
Awesome, thank you. Does anyone else on the board have any questions for?
How did you find out about the
Online, social media.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
As a trustee, technically the money raising has to be done by Friends of the Library. But as a trustee, our primary obligation is to oversee the running of the library. Leighton actually does the day-to-day, and we're just here to check the books, offer moral support.
And I apologize. Yeah, I'm the library director. I'm not part of the board. I'm the director of the library.
And so we have to be looking into contracts, which perhaps you are familiar with some of your fundraising experiences. And we are here to hold the library in trust for the community so that we can maintain this standard that we have in this library, because it is a wonderful library. We have some wonderful staff.
Yeah.
I'm especially excited about your experience in writing grants. I don't know how that can translate as a trustee for the library, but it certainly is an asset for the library. I mean, I don't know how much that can help the library, but it certainly is an experience that would be lovely to have for us. I don't know how much, as I said, how much that can translate from trustee to the library grant writing, but it certainly is an asset that would be nice to have.
Just as a director, I would think that as we're trying to work on grants, having someone that we could have, could you please read this over and, give us any suggestions would be extremely helpful. Some of us have more experience writing grants than others. For me, it was a relatively new process that I just started working on when I took over as the director. So it's always great to have another resource of experience that you could turn to just to be like, does this look good? Does this look like it could use some tweaking? So.
And give perhaps some other avenues of grants to explore, as well as,
Yes.
what we're thinking of would be certainly a nice area to think about. I don't know what B2B relationships are.
Sorry, business to business. So I worked in the corporate industry for a long time, so I would develop a lot of relationships for the corporations that I worked for.
Okay, it's business to business.
Mhm.
Well, now I know what that is. I'm an old person, don't know a lot of these things. Let's see, and I think that's probably all I have to ask about.
What about your time commitment? So I know obviously you work, and I know a lot of us do work too, so it's
Yes.
okay. But we normally meet third Wednesday of every month, and our fourth Wednesday of every month. I should know this. And our meetings are usually 1 to 2 hours long. Do you foresee like any issues with coming in? Because most of the times they are in-person meetings.
Yes, no, I don't see any issues. I have a hybrid schedule, and I also have a flexible work schedule.
And you're part of Stickney, correct?
Forced you.
Forest View.
Oh.
Awesome. Anyone else have any questions, concerns?
You said you and your son both like the library, you had good positive experiences?
Yes, we have, yes. I used to bring my son all the time. I have a daughter now as well who's 3, and I haven't brought her to the library, but I would always bring my son to the library, and we'd take part in the activities and the special events. And
Well, they have a lot of events
Yes,
that
they do.
available as well,
yes, and we relied on those events all the time, and
Yeah.
they were a good experience.
Okay, I think you'll enjoy it for the 3-year-old as well. Yeah, that our youth department is just magnificent.
It really is. Yes.
Awesome. Well, if that's it from our team, we will have you exit the room just so we can do the other interview.
Sure.
But you are welcome to either leave or come back for the rest of it. We will have we'll discuss the interviews, I think, later after the interviews, and then we'll have Leighton send out an email to both I think it's just 2 candidates, to both candidates with our decision. So again, you're welcome to stay. We do have see how a meeting works, but you don't have to. I know sometimes they go longer. You have obviously kids at home, so totally up to you.
Alrighty. Okay. Well, thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much.
We really
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Will you grab? Yeah. Okay, so do you go by Deborah, Debbie, what's your preference?
It doesn't matter, honestly. People call me all of it.
Okay, your papers with
Debbie's,
Deborah.
I think okay, yeah, that's fine.
Debbie, okay, so we're gonna go with Debbie.
Debbie's good.
Okay, so, we are your, library trustees. This is Leighton, the director. And so tell us a little bit of why do you want to be on the board and just a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm sure everyone got a copy already on the different boards that I'm in. Sylvia, we've even worked on a women's auxiliary together. Some of the boards that I was working with, or the committees I should say, are breaking for summer anyhow. So now I have all this free time and I'm never bored of anything, so I have to keep on the go. The library, I always liked the library when they did the summer kickoffs with the gymnastics, and I thought that was really cool. I thought there was a few things maybe we could add onto it in someone else's pocket, not the library's pocket. I have a lot of contacts with fundraising and connections, like with Raising Cane's, Let Us Entertain You, Texas Roadhouse, like where other people can sponsor stuff and they like to bring stuff for free. So that's something I like to get involved with, and I have the time now. My kids are older, they're 27 and 24, even though I'm young, right?
Yes. Possibly have children in it.
So I'm always on the go doing something, and I feel like for summer, the police association that I'm in breaks for summer, the women's auxiliary breaks for summer, so now I'm like, there's no more baseball games, my kids are older, I have to find some other interest to put all my energy into. So when I saw this on the website that it was available, I said, okay, there's something, maybe I can help you guys and keep myself busy, out of trouble.
Now, so you said they all broke for the summer, so this is like a year's commitment kind of thing?
Yes.
So then, of course, after summer, and then of course, like, work outside of this, like, what are your, like, are you able to meet our time commitments of?
Oh, absolutely. Actually, my senior club, yes, I was in a senior club. They disbanded due to COVID. So that's one thing I'm not going back to. The police association is taking over, like, it's different committees now. People got assigned to different kind of things. We kind of started off, I started a candlelight bowl myself and raised over $3,900 in one event, one day, 5 hours. And that they're going into a different direction because nobody wanted a bowl. It was kind of like, do something else. So a new committee took that. So I did that for 2 years and I let that go. So I'm kind of letting other people take a turn on some of those committees that I was on.
Okay.
So I could give like 125% probably because I'll be bored if I don't do something.
Okay, cool.
And the websites are perfect. I could beat all the meetings, so I don't have a problem
I
with.
put the schedule up on the screen there too.
Oh,
Yeah.
perfect, thank you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't see anyone's birthday or birthdays or anything on it. So I would be able to make the commitment.
6 o'clock in the evening, we meet at 6 o'clock.
At 6 p.m.? Absolutely.
Yeah, the only change in the schedule is November because of Thanksgiving's holiday. We bump it up a week to the third Wednesday of the month. December is an at-needed month that we haven't met the last couple times. The rest of the time, it's all the fourth Wednesday of the month.
Okay. Yeah, the time is not a problem. As I said, I do own 2 businesses in town. I hired a full-time manager at one of them, which is awesome. It's great. It's working out. I just started training another manager at my other one. So like I said, I'm gonna be able to have the flexibility that if there is a weekend kickoff or something that I will be able to attend. I will be able to participate in it, you know, before and after the event, like to raise funds for it, to be able to do it and be able to show my face there and represent the library. So I have the convenience of rearranging my schedule, making my own time when I want to work, because I do work there, even though people don't think I do. But I do make the schedule myself, so scheduling is not a problem.
Okay, cool. Anyone else have any kind of questions for her?
Well, fundraising is one of the things that we do here at the library because of the programs that we have. Because we, different prizes and different things that go on here. So fundraising is an integral part of, unfortunately, what goes on here at the library. So that is definitely something that we would be looking into and looking forward to. So that's one thing that you can help here at the library. So that's one thing that we can look at. We do need, I it's nice to have a jolt of energy and fresh air. That's one thing that's nice to have. And that would be nice. And people that attend the meetings. It's very important to have people that attend the meetings. It's hard to have worrisome if we're gonna have a quorum. And we've had that in the past. Where it's been very difficult worrying if we're gonna have a quorum. So that's one of the things that we really would like to make sure that.
Oh, absolutely.
So that's one of the things that we worry about. So that's all I have to say.
I see you like the library so much.
Yeah, that's my little library on my property. And what's great about that is watching it on a Blue camera, there is people that come of all ages, sizes, shapes, they bring their dogs, doesn't matter. Someone just put a calorie counter book in there, a recipe book, but then there's children's book. There's a little bit of everything where it's almost becoming too cramped, which is nice though to see kids and adults kind of enjoy that. And I think the focus for the library here is I would like to help try to bring more patrons in that are not members or members that would like to come in and participate. You know, the library looks a little empty.
Well,
And
that's-
that
yeah.
would be nice for everyone to come in, whether you have a meet and greet or story time, and I'm sure you have a lot of stuff like that.
This is
I
what we
think
need.
the promoting is a lot.
This
a lot to do with
my
that.
dream is to have everybody have a library card. Every kid, every adult in the Stickney-Forest view, Central Stickney, everybody have a library card. That's always been my dream. With the other librarian and with Lynn, just my dream. I want everybody to have a library card. I want everybody to be here. Because that's,
Even for kids, it's a form of identification that they can carry around, you know?
it just-
So I think, I agree with you, I think everybody should have one. Just like my daughter, she also lives in Stickney, her internet went down, where she had to run to the library because she has homework. You know, so when you're in a pinch like that, it's great to be a member.
I don't think people realize the things that are available to them. And I don't know, the only way we can do that is to bring them in here and expose them to these things. The movies, the big screens, the things that we do, the Legos,
Yes.
whatever. And the only way we can do it is to get them in here.
And I think when
we
you
have
start
ideas to
something,
get 'em in here.
when you start something new like myself, you do give 200% because you want it to become successful, you want to, and then maybe it kind of like spreads to everyone else to like, hey, we got to do this, or, you know, we want help, or two or more people plan an event together where it's not just, you know, a cold email to someone or pass someone on the street. So you want to get everybody involved, including the library members. There's no reason why they wouldn't be able to jump in and volunteer their time or something like that.
Maybe we
So-
need, you know, having an activity, having a part, some kind of a party, some kind of an activity, a party, a presence of something or other.
A block party maybe.
Well, and I was going to say, the Friends of the Library is having an after-hours garden social event, I believe on June 9th. That'll be outside with
Okay,
little
that sounds great.
live music and some live refreshments.
I love that idea. That's what we need to do. We gotta get people into the, and they have to be shown what's available. Show that there are, if they have to, then they have to consider. I remember coming here and watching a young man sitting on the bench outside using the Wi-Fi. I mean, you know, it's, if nothing, they have to realize that that's available to them.
Right.
You know? It's great. I think it was great that he was able to do that. I mean, he couldn't get Wi-Fi at home, and that Wi-Fi wasn't working at home. He got the library in the library, he was able to utilize the Wi-Fi in the library, just sitting, I mean,
The vehicle stickers I had just noticed maybe last week.
yeah, that's
or
another thing,
something.
we are not advertising
Right,
that.
you know,
We are not
like, I have a
advertising.
lot of ideas in my head of things without going into boring everyone in case you have any questions also, but certain things when you get in a program like that, maybe a postcard, and I know it costs money, but you get someone to sponsor it, whether it's a printing company, whether it's a company in town or out of town, and blast a postcard that say, hey, available now. I think a lot of people would rather come here to get that plate sticker than go wait at a currency exchange
Absolutely.
or go wait at the DMV or, you know, some of the.
And nobody knows where giving them out.
No, and
Nobody
some of the
knows that.
seniors don't have the luxury of a computer to go to the DMV to order it. So I think when you have a new thing come in, you have to specifically just target that new thing for a while. That's just my.
I agree.
Awesome. Well, thanks for the
A
ideas.
lot of what you have said actually has to go through Friends of the Library. The library itself cannot raise money. And as trustees, we're more the behind the scenes, the watching the budget, steering, if you will, the library. And as individuals, we can bring up these ideas and where they can be implemented by the staff, but also a lot of this, like when you talk about the money raising, that has to be done by Friends of the Library.
But
Can't be done-
are we asking for donations, like for the summer reading kickoff from the businesses?
When we ask for donations, yeah, that's something we ask for donations either through gift cards or through monetary donation.
Yeah, so we are raising
Yeah.
not like money, but
Right.
we are raising something. I know we are.
Yeah.
You're right.
And,
Yeah, well, as I said, fundraising.
Yeah.
I think you said fundraising,
Well-
did I?
and
Yeah.
but to Marge's point also though, that's not to say that the trustees can't help the Friends with that. The Friends, the trustees just can't be officers of the Friends board. So there's nothing to prevent any of the trustees with helping out with the fundraising through the Friends of the Library, providing ideas to the Friends of the Library.
But not just the friends, I think the library.
Oh,
itself.
no, definitely. I mean, like when we do our,
I mean, I know this is going on for decades.
Yes.
Probably 1 decade that I know of, that they are raising for some reading kickoff.
we
The
do
backpack,
we
they're
do
raising
generally 2 solicitations of donations, one for summer reading, sometimes one for winter reading, depending on how much
Yeah.
energy we have left to do a big winter reading drive.
I'm familiar with
Yeah,
it, I know
yeah.
that we are having it, so
Yeah.
it's nothing.
Oh, I
You're right,
happy
probably
to
not
work
with
with
the
the
money,
I don't
but-
think-
I don't know exactly who all
Yes.
is still involved.
I don't think
Yeah,
we-
sure,
But I would be happy to work with
It's
them.
just that we do need to
Yeah.
do more in that respect.
Yeah.
And have people in the library more, bring more people into the
Yeah.
library.
And that is one of the key functions of any trustee is advocacy for the library also.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Debbie, do you have any questions for us?
I don't really think so. I mean, I think it's pretty clear. I have been to a couple of these board meetings before. I've been to the library. I know they're on Wednesdays and all that. And I've been to some of the functions. So I don't really have any questions because I really don't expect anything from the board. I'm just trying to offer some new ideas, some fresh ideas. And like I said, if I, could work with the Friends of the Library, that'd be great too. Whoever is in charge of that. Maybe we get together, give them an idea that they could implement, and they can go ahead and run with the ball. Just like a different idea. Everyone gets stagnant after a while when you do something for so long. You just need somebody fresh, and then it makes everybody wake up a little bit. So,
Yes,
Yeah.
any spurt of energy does it.
Does anyone else have any other questions?
no.
Awesome. Well, okay, so you are welcome. So we're gonna have you leave, and then we're gonna discuss a little bit, and then we will open the doors back up and bring everyone else in.
Okay.
You are welcome to stay if you want to see what we talk about, but you do not have to. We will have email you the decision. And if you have any questions, just let me know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you guys.
Sure.
Thank you
Thank you.
very much.
If-
Thank you for your
if
time.
any-
Thank you for your interest.
If any,
Oh,
I was gonna say, if any of the public upstairs are gonna stick around, I'll let them know that I'll come up and get them
Okay.
when we come out of closed session.
Okay, that sounds great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So, since we're still in closed session, I think we can kind of talk about it, make a decision today. And then Leighton, you can just email them either end of day today or tomorrow, let them know, hey, this is who we choose. And then the person that we don't choose, if you can just say, hey, even though you didn't get this, we still recommend that you be a part of the Friends of the Library.
Sure.
We'd still love to have you around and part of the library.
And
Yes.
there's
Also,
elections
tell them
next
that there will be
April.
openings.
And also that, yes.
Yeah.
And that we encourage them to stay around. Okay, so any first thoughts, preference of who you like, or any cons and pros versus anyone?
Yeah, well, I like Lorna's
Okay,
And partially because she comes from Forest View and we need somebody from another community.
okay, is that the only, main reason?
Yeah,
Okay,
I think she can bring a new face and bring in stuff. And she's got
grant.
the experience with the fundraising and all of that. Well, excuse me, too, also.
Awesome. Sylvia?
Well, you know, Debbie's a high energy person. I mean, she definitely is a high energy person. She's experienced with the community. She knows all the different people, businesses and everything, and she has a lot to offer in that respect.
Okay, so is your goal?
Lord's, she's from Forest View, and she has experience in the grants.
And marketing also.
And marketing, yeah. I'd like to hear what everybody else says.
Okay, fair.
I like both. I mean, both have their unique ups and leaning towards Deborah right now.
Okay,
I guess her energy and the local connections are
Sure.
kind of big. At least from my experience with our nonprofit, I like to go local, and that's always been an advantage for us and helped us out a lot. So her having that networking, Stickney and all those other committees, she knows her way around. And nothing against Ortiz, she seems great also, but I would be leaning towards Deborah.
okay, fair.
Well, Lourdes, both of them sound great. Both of them sound great. You know, having little kids, that can be a little tricky. I mean, I know you have smaller kids too.
Yeah.
But again, I'm with Edgar, with so many connections in her. I see her in action. I know what she can do. She can make anybody.
Okay,
I think it will be better.
okay, so your vote's for her?
Same thing here, I like both of them, but I think for Debbie, got a lesser connection, and plus, I think whatever we need, look like she got them all.
She knows people. Okay, I don't think we can go wrong with either option. One, the big pro is grant writing experience, and the other one is a networking experience. They both seem like they would show up to meetings and be involved, and that they've both been here and at events. So I do love them both. I do think networking is a big thing. I think a lot of stuff is about who you know, so I'm leaning towards Deborah. Layton, I know you don't get an official vote, but do you have an opinion of con or pro about anyone that maybe we could consider?
No, I mean, like you said, it's, marketing and grant writing experience on one end, networking and connections in the community on the other. The Forest View thing is something we are going to have to address eventually. I mean, we really should be providing representation to both Forest View and Central Stickney. There's about 700 people in Forest View and about 1,100 people in Central Stickney. So obviously, I think Stickney is at about 7,000 right now. So, having at least one person, maybe two on the board from those other communities, I think should be something we strive for going forward. So in that respect, I probably would give Florida a little edge just because I know that's an area we need to work harder at. But
Okay. All right, anyone else want to point out a pro or con versus one to sway somebody's decision?
Okay, since we're so, then maybe we should put a little extra heavy weight on Lourdes because of Forest View.
Point is, yeah, we're looking for library, we're gonna be bad, not whatever you're from, Stickney or is it within America. We're looking for our goods here to make somebody like Debbie. She know everything, she know everybody, and I think now both of them good, but Debbie, I think she can do it better for the library.
Oh, she said well, I'm free this summer. And okay, what happens for the rest of the year? She's got,
But I did
I'm
ask
afraid
her.
she has too many irons in the fire and may not be able to bring to the library what we'd like to see. By having people from Forest View and from Central Stickney on the board, how many of us get south of I-55? We don't know what's going on in that community at all. If you have somebody coming from that area, they can be bringing that information to us. And the same, Forest View's a little closer, but it's the same idea. So that's why we think it's important to have people from those communities. We can get too caught up in what Stickney and forget about the rest of it.
But I think some ways around that too is that we need to address, like we have to come up with ideas, like Debbie had ideas, like I do think, yes, we don't know what's going on in Forest View, so maybe an idea would be like, hey, before our meetings, if you can put it on Facebook, like, hey, we, have, what's it called, when the open session, not open session, when we,
Public comment?
public comment, that's the word. If anyone wants to show up for public comment, bring anything to our attention, or just show up. I think we need to be more inviting of people being here, watching our meetings.
Be more involved.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's kind of like, we can't put just that, this is my opinion, maybe I'm wrong, but the way they live cannot be the breaking point, because it's a little become discrimination, I think. Because it's Forest View, let's get that person.
Forest View versus.
But we don't have to know what's going on. We are here for the library that all those people are using. It's like we are not making decisions in the library for certain communities. Are we going to do this because this is good for Central Stickney? I mean, nowadays you find out stuff everywhere. Everything is out there on social media. You're following. Leighton is in touch with Lou, right? Stickney Township. What is he?
Well,
Supervisor.
President.
Supervisor. You're in touch with him, you're in touch with the Forest View president, Stickney president, so
So
Yeah,
ultimately,
But-
you're in touch with the officials.
Yeah.
You're not in
Yes.
touch with the citizens.
I was just gonna say, my point would be that a person that lives there might have the ear of their neighbors and would be able to bring in concerns of their neighbors and other residents.
We had the people from Central Stickney, they were involved with the SAS school, so they were, like you said, they had the ear of the people. They knew what
which
was going
then
on.
usually goes in the schools, right?
Because she went to school there, she had connections.
Yeah, she's out definitely with there, but
Yeah, so we do have connections with all our towns.
okay, so ultimately,
well,
for,
I'm gonna say one thing I'm sorry to interrupt,
No,
but
it's
one
fine.
thing I wanted to add to that then is we are trying to reach out to them to be more active in their events. And so one thing I would ask then is that if we are going to be trying to have a presence at any Forest View or Central Stickney events, if board members could join us and attend some of these other events to meet the people of those other areas, to talk to them directly, that would be helpful then. So if we don't get somebody from that town, if the board member truly is going to represent the people in Forest View and Central Stickney, maybe you guys, if we're going to be going to a Central Stickney Fire Department open house, instead of it just being me and Danielle, maybe one of the board members can go and sit with us there too and actually meet the people.
When they are, let us know.
Yeah, okay.
You know.
I'd love to. And I think just like maybe moving forward for like these meetings, set some, make a bullet point for, hey, does anyone have any ideas this month? And are there any like events that you can share with us that are happening that we might be able to attend?
I don't know offhand the legality of it.
Oh, make it.
No, I'm sorry. I'm going off on a tangent.
Okay.
It triggered something in my mind that
Yeah.
once the Central Stickney building renovation is completed, if there's no legal reason why we couldn't do it, if we periodically held a board meeting there, would that be a possibility? Or
Yeah.
or would it have to be here in the building? That's what I'm not
I'll
sure.
look into that, yeah, that'd be good.
Okay.
So that way more people could join.
Because then
public
people from
comment.
the big issue we have with the people that live in Central Stickney is that a lot of them can't come to the library so easily. So that is one reason why we're going to be having a smart locker at that location, so that we can put materials out in the smart locker, load it up. They can pick up the materials when it's convenient to them. Being 4.5 miles away on the other side of I-55, if they don't drive, they're out of luck. So
Love that idea.
that is something I'll look into.
Yes.
It might be that we have to have our meetings
Make it
here at the
feel like
library.
a ribbon cutting or something
Yeah,
too.
definitely that too.
Yeah.
They're about 2 months behind on that renovation, but when there is a ribbon cutting,
I know, it's,
they had like 2 months of
ribbon
permitting.
cutting is never on time, it takes
Yeah,
longer.
Yeah, I think as a board, we do need to be more involved in more than just these yes/no warrants.
I
And
don't think that there is a regulation where you meet, it would just, you would have to be posted.
Well, I know,
We
And
gotta look into that.
we'll just look into it.
I
We'll go
know-
into it. Just
I know
and
that,
accessible there.
You don't have to look at it now, you can look.
well, no, I was only going to point out that I know that on our published board meeting schedule, it says that the meetings are at this specific
location.
okay, so we
location.
might just need to edit.
So going forward, if we were to try to change the location, it might require something like posting something in the newspaper, or
But later
potentially.
on in the line, like,
Right.
you know, like every
Yeah.
November meeting
And,
would be there.
and if not,
you
if
know?
not an official board meeting, maybe just a come meet the board of the library, and we could just have an unofficial meeting where we just go there and act, have a.
Sometimes just
Yeah,
have a coffee.
that's even
Right,
better,
yeah. We'll have coffee, we'll have bagels, come meet the board of the library, tell us what your concerns are, something like that.
Okay, so, oh, it's done. Okay, so then, vacancy wise, what will be your decision?
I'd go with Lourdes.
Lourdes, okay. What is your decision?
Can I just be skipped over for this time?
Yes.
Just one time.
Edgar?
I'm still leaning towards Deborah, just because we had the same situation at our organization where we were focusing, I know at some point, like Leighton said, we had to address it, but we were focusing on training, excluding people that went from Cicero and it ended up just kind of backfiring.
Okay, so
So after, yeah.
that's fine.
Deb.
Tim?
And that,
My vote is for them.
Yep.
Right. So that is 5 for Deb and 1 for Lourdes. Okay, so then that's official, that's done. You know how to word it, hopefully, thank you. But again, just remind them, we'd love to have her on Friends of the Library.
Okay.
Okay, cool. Anything else for closed session?
Please make sure you mention to Lourdes that there will be openings.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I hate to lose her.
Yeah, tell her don't hate us.
Oh, she has many years to come in the library, she has a 3-year-old, she's gonna be coming here, she's gonna be involved.
lawyer.
Cool beans. Okay, would you like to go grab them?
Yeah, I think we have to do a motion to come out.
Oh,
of-
yeah, motion, does anyone motion to come
I
out?
motion to get out of the closed session.
Second.
Thank you.
Okay.
Good call.
Sam,
Yes.
Natasha,
Yes.
Edgar,
Yes.
Sylvia,
Yes.
Marge, yes, Rosen.
Yes.
6:43.
And it is,
Oh, yeah.
what time is it?
6:43.
6:43, okay.
And I'm sorry,
6:43.
should I tell them,
Tell them closed session is out.
and
guys
that you
are
will get back to
welcome.
them?
They're
Don't tell
wel-
them yet.
Yeah, they're welcome to come, and you will receive an email later today. Just that, like, let's say someone got mad.
Right, right, right.
Let's not deal with it.
Right, right.
They'll get an email later on.
Yep. Now, the action that's going to happen out of closed session, the vote will be taken in public, and I'm assuming our public members are going to come back in, so,
Vote for what?
well,
Of who we're going for, so they're gonna know.
yeah. I mean, the action, you can't take an action within closed session, so you did a straw poll within closed session, that wasn't the official vote.
Okay.
The official vote has to be taken outside of closed session.
So they can come back
So
and
they're all
say-
gonna know right now.
Yeah,
Okay.
basically,
So I'm trying to avoid.
yeah.
Yeah.
So now I could, I could tell them that I'll send an email out,
And maybe they just leave.
but, anyone that stays,
Well, I assume they're gonna come because that little boy's here and he's
Right.
going to
You know
know.
all the, with their why they're here.
Yeah. That's a gift for any of them.
unfortunately, you can't take an action within closed session.
Can I use the restroom?
Oh, yeah,
No, you have,
We have to vote on it.
I'm sure you'll leave it down.
Does anybody need any glasses if you'd like some water from outside?
Yeah, please.
Can we- And I've got, back when I used to do that cookbook club, I had them all wrapped up.
Oh, yeah.
And then the pandemic and stuff.
What point running here is this a camera?
What? Oh, it is for the heat department stuff? If you want the. Oh, sure. I didn't take this out, and that's something colder and it's filtered. Gotcha.
So I should just do that right away, right?
Yeah, I think we need a motion to come back in
Alright.
session.
So we already did that.
No, to
To
leave
we got,
closed
okay.
session. And
So is
we
there a
need
motion to come
we
into
need
session?
a
Call to
motion
order.
to reconvene.
Call to order.
Yeah.
And then I just legit ask you guys?
So do we have to go back to get in regular session?
Yeah.
And then we're gonna have another closed session?
No.
What is the
It's-
salary thing?
Oh, never mind.
I think it was just
Yeah.
a review. No?
Or tuition board?
So I know there's some financials just to review. Like the budget, the voting will be in June.
That makes my head swim.
Oh, yeah, enter closed session to discuss employee.
Yeah.
Why don't we don't have to go into closed session?
Oh, we can just
Yeah,
do
'cause
that
we're not
now.
talking- If we are, oh, okay, because that was an individual.
Yeah. Discuss them.
So they kicked out Armando, and then he started having chest pains, and other than ambulance, I'm checking him out.
All right.
Oh, crap.
Well,
You're doing such a good job, Rosa.
thanks.
Oh, I need it.
I try.
No, you are.
Not bad for you,
Oh, we're back. Okay. Oh, I'm filling. All right. Is there a motion to come back into the regular general meeting?
Make a motion.
Sam, did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Sam, I'll second.
All
Oh,
right.
now wait. Sam, yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Natasha, Edgar,
Yes.
Sylvia, Mark, Rosa. Okay, and what time is it, Rosa?
It is 6:48.
Okay.
6:48, back to regular meeting. All right, so then, discussing from what we, well, okay, so I know we have an audience today, so I just wanted to say we do have to vote, publicly to make our decision official. Just putting it out there that even if you did not win the vacancy, or gonna be part of the vacancy, we do always encourage you guys to, be part of Friends of the Library, and please still stay involved. And we do also have, elections coming up, and so just keep that in mind. Okay, so then in regards to the vacancy seat for Elizabeth Ortiz, Marge, what is your vote?
Oh, do we have a motion?
Oh, sorry, do we have a motion to vote?
I move that we vote.
I'll second.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, Marge, your vote would be towards,
Lords,
and Sylvia, your vote would be towards,
Pardon me?
your vote is towards
For Deborah.
Deborah, and Edgar, your vote is towards,
Deborah.
and Sasha, your vote is,
Deborah.
and Sam,
Deborah.
and my vote is towards Deborah. And Deborah is here, so congratulations.
Thank you, everyone. I look forward to working with all of you.
Thanks, Deborah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so moving on for the meeting, the consent agenda, is there a motion to adopt, we're done with that, right? I don't need to vote.
yeah.
Okay, so,
Now we-
is there a motion to adopt the consent agenda, which includes the April minutes, the April financials, and
I
the
make a
April?
motion.
Second.
Thank you. Any questions, concerns about?
Wait,
We
let's
have to
vote.
have a vote, we have to have a vote first.
Yeah.
Sam, did you second?
Yes.
Okay, wasn't sure there. Natasha, you moved, okay. So Sam,
Yes.
Natasha,
Yes.
Edgar,
Yes.
Sylvia,
Yes.
Marge, yes, Rosa,
Yes.
that's it.
Okay, any questions about the regular meeting from April 27th? Any questions on the treasurer's report? Profit and loss report? Balance sheet? Check summary? Transaction list? Warrants? All right, secretary's report. Oh, just kidding, wait, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I so moved.
Second.
Natasha, that was you seconding?
Yes.
Thank you. Sam,
Yes.
Natasha,
Yes.
Edgar,
Yes.
Sylvia,
Yes.
Marge, yes, Rosa?
Yes. Secretary's report.
So the only real correspondence I had, we had another 5-star rating on Google, and I'm trying to pull it up. I don't know why it's not coming up.
That's good news.
Yeah. It's not coming up because I already had it up. It's right there. So we had another 5-star Google review, and the person wrote, "Super nice and clean environment."
Yes.
Always nice to hear. 5-star review from Brenda Benitez. The other correspondence that you have, I gave each of you a small sampling. Danielle in the youth department has been very active with the MTC organization out of Morton. They've had lots of events here at the library, and then they just recently had a end of year field trip to come celebrate, and they did a bunch of stuff like karaoke and video games, and they wrote a whole bunch of these little thank you letters to our staff members. And so I kind of gave a few of them for each of you to take a look at. If you wanted to see the others, you could pass them around if you wanted, but they were very sweet, I thought. And then in Danielle's report within the board packet, she also had some scans of some other thank yous that they had gotten from the students and staff as well. So I thought those were sweet, and I just wanted to share them with you also. Also, I forgot to mention that each of you, this is the giveaway we'll be giving away at our summer reading program. So this is just one for each of you at the library also. And,
Graphics is great.
Yeah, let's get
and then, if you had not heard, we recently had a bookmark design contest upstairs, and each of you got a little, one each of the adult, young adult, and teen, the winning bookmarks. So if you're doing any reading at home, you've got some fancy new bookmarks to use with for your reading.
I love it. Do we print these here?
Yeah, we just print them out in-house. We've got some nice ledger size cardstock,
Yeah, I'll take
and
a
yeah, we print them out locally and just chop them up. It was funny because we had like 3 stations of people with the big paper shredders going to town.
Awesome. Okay, was that it?
That was it as far as correspondence.
All right, so look at stuff. Director's report.
That's a nice basic little director's report, a small little thing.
I'm sorry?
But you have little, there's a lot of stuff in here.
Did we ever get you the? Because when I had sent them out originally, yeah, I think we gave you. You should have 2 sections because when I emailed them out initially on Friday, I left out a chunk of them. So you should have 2 stapled sections. One, yeah, okay, so that's it. There, you're holding on to it. I just wanted to make sure you had actually gotten
Yeah,
it.
there's quite a bit in here,
Yeah. So nothing necessarily to add to the director's report that's not already in there. Obviously, the things that I wanted to mention last month when we were talking about whether or not to transfer money out of the special reserve to handle the furnace stuff, and we didn't. Part of that was because if you look at that personal property replacement tax payments, we've received way over what we normally do. Last year we received $242,000 just in personal property replacement tax. This year we received $527,000. And the average, the 9-year average, was about $186,000. So that's why I'd figured it wasn't really necessary to transfer money out of special reserves, that the cost of that repair, that unexpected repair that we had, we should be able to handle readily out of just that unexpectedly large personal property replacement tax.
And what's happening with the roof?
The roof is, still being repaired. Unfortunately, the weather has not been working well. They came out, I believe, Tuesday of last week, put a day's work in, got rained out for the rest of the week. They came out, I believe, Monday of this week, and then they were like, well, it looks like rain for the rest of the week. Then they were like, we're coming out Monday, and then we were like, Monday's Memorial Day, and they're like, oh, right, so we'll be out Tuesday. So it's,
Next week is looking like it's going to be hot and dry, so.
okay,
I'll
so,
be-
Do
Yeah.
they, if next week is nice and dry, do they expect that it'll be done by
They
the
expect-
party?
I believe so, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. The only other, oh,
Oh, this goes to you or Joanne?
no, Joanne, I already signed off on them.
Is this from the license? Can you sign that?
The landscaping maintenance that I've been wanting to do, where we're gonna be remulching everything, we haven't had a chance to do that yet. I'm waiting for Nightcore to come and finish patching that area that they screwed up, because I don't want to have it be done by Siebert and then them charging us.
And then they undo it.
You're right, so I just wanna wait for Nightcore to finish that Oak Park Avenue entrance, and then I'm gonna have Siebert come out and finally do the remulching and the re-edging that we were talking about doing. Other than that, anything in there is as it is. The sidewalk repair, that was one of the checks that we cut this month, so with luck, that'll be getting done. It won't be done before the block party, obviously, but that should be getting done soon. Yeah, so that pretty much everything else in that director's report is, unless you have any questions about any of it.
Just a quickie, now,
Sure.
their personal property replacement tax, but we are coming up with a little bit less in the general tax money, is that correct?
So far, that hasn't been the case.
Okay.
I mean, the average, like if you look at the regular tax disbursements, the 9-year average was about 16,000 for April. Last year we
I'm not looking at the total year. In other words, are we balancing out, or are we coming out a little bit ahead with this additional replacement tax?
we're about the same, because like last year we got, we received 1,229,000 for fiscal year 21. This year, it looks like we're to be having 1,277,000. So, oh no, that's actually, my brain's not working. That's actually more than last year. So it's not substantially more than we received last year. It's about 50,000 more than we received last year. So we're above what we received last year. We're above what the average is. And
I
then,
thought I saw somewhere though that what we took in taxes was a
Yeah,
little
the
less
general
than.
revenue was under,
Yes,
what are you looking at?
under the first page, page 14, 104.
Are you looking,
Profit loss.
okay, you're looking at profit and loss
General
report.
revenue,
Okay.
property tax revenue.
Okay, so,
Actual 1,023,000, we budgeted 1,050,000, and so we're under.
well, that 1,050,000 is kind of a scientific wild ass guess. It's a best estimate based on what we assume we're gonna be getting. We take what we got the previous year, we multiply it by the cost of living interest adjustment, and then we add to that what we estimate we're gonna be getting in new property value based on any new property occurring in the district. We run those numbers through a spreadsheet, and then we get a best estimate of what we think we're gonna be getting, but that is not a definite money. So that one, and that's why, I mean, the reason why it's such a round number, that it's a
Yeah,
1,050,000.
I understand it's a guesstimate.
It's a guesstimate.
Yeah, I understand. Usually, we're over the guesstimate. Usually, we come out positive over the guesstimate.
we,
Well,
And it's okay,
Yeah.
we're under.
anyway, I'm just, to be careful that you don't think that this end is going up and this end is staying the same. It could be going down, so we still may have the X number of dollars just distributed.
yeah, no, I mean, as of right now, and that's why in the director's report, I try to give you historical averages. So, whether, these are the actual amounts that we received. So last year we, and I don't have last year's profit and loss statement, so I don't remember what well, actually I do. If you go to, if you go towards the end of the board packet, I've got our draft operational budget for this year. And the main focus of this is looking at the draft of what we're gonna be doing. Our,
Okay, what are you looking at?
the,
Sylvia, here's what
I
these
have it.
pages look like.
the spreadsheet with the multicolored column headers. So that shows you, we were estimating the 1,050,000, and as of that report, we had only received 1,023,000. The actual property tax revenue we received in 2021 was the 991,000. So, and I'm sorry, I thought I included the budgeted amount for 2021 in there, but I didn't. But no, I think we're doing fine. It's, you know, I think it looked, you know, everything indicates that. And that's not to say things aren't going to change.
Oh,
Yeah, we know that there's going to be potential delays in tax revenue coming, but as of right now, we're above what we received last year on the regular property tax, and we're way above what we received last year on the personal property replacement tax.
Why do you expect so much in personal property tax, I wonder?
Yeah, I can't tell you specifically. If you have the PDF of this document, above the chart of the personal property replacement tax, I've got that, it says fiscal year 2022 estimate for replacement taxes, and it's blue with an underline. If you've got the PDF of this report, that's a hyperlink, and if you click on that, it'll actually take you to the report from the county that goes into all the detail of that. And that, I read that, and it's just like, my eyes are like, what?
Yeah, your eyes get big.
Yeah.
I'm
So,
not
I mean,
getting big too.
if you're really interested in why those estimates are much higher.
No, I just
Yeah.
wondered why, I mean, okay, I'll take it. I'm not gonna say no, thank you.
Sure,
But,
sure.
I just wonder why it's so big.
Yep. But, yeah, other than that, we're wrapping up our grant spending. I mentioned the new charging stations that we got with some of our ARPA grant money. We're still waiting on that second Smiata locker for Central Stickney because that renovation's not done yet, but, that will be the last of our that Transforming Spaces ARPA grant money. We've spent all the money for the Bouncing Back from the Pandemic. That was the job seeker focused grant. So we subscribed to some new databases for the job seekers, and we purchased equipment to have these job seeker technology kits that have got a Chromebook and a hotspot, a Wi-Fi hotspot. So for people that are job searching, they've got a whole little kit of equipment they could use to apply for jobs online. Yeah, that all went really well.
How much do those charging stations run for?
Those ran about 600 each. And they've even got, these newer ones even have the wireless charging. You can just set the phone on top.
Yeah,
And
'cause we go through so many of those, and I'll have to look to see which one.
the ones we had gotten before was this style here. And they worked pretty well, except we had a lot of times people leaning and snapping off their shelf.
Yeah.
And then plus the technology, the second one we got, it just died eventually. And like you plug your phone in and it just doesn't sync up anymore. This one is still working well. When we have the parents as teachers group that meets down here, they'll plug their phones in and use it, and. But this other one, I was able to get basically 2 of those for the price of that, and I'm like, this way people aren't gonna be leaning on it, snapping on it, we're just gonna have it sitting on a table. We've got some of those security cables, just to be safe, we'll have it security cabled down to the table, and then we won't have to worry about it as much.
All right, anything else on, questions for Leighton? Department head reports, committee reports, questions, concerns? All right, so we'll move on to the unfinished business, in regards to the policy revision for the collection development.
So this is one that we've kicked down the road a couple times, and the last few times I was looking for examples of other policies that you could use just to see where we got that from. So basically the thing that I believe was the point of contention that people were not sure about was the section saying that by signing this complaint, you're identifying yourself with the materials cited in the complaint and thereby waiving your right to confidentiality as to those materials cited in the complaint. One sample I have in here, the one that's just titled Collection Management Policy, This is a generic sample policy that was put out by the Illinois State Library. They've got this website called the Administrative Rated Reference, and they've got lots of sample policies you could use as templates for creating library policy. And so that one gives an idea, of verbiage that you can use. So it's not exactly like the one that we have, although it does have, similar discussion in there about the freedom to read, about, how we're trying to not censor materials in the collection. And then it does have an area in there, request initiated by. And then after that, it's a sample of the Berwyn Public Library's collection management policy. And this is the one that we actually used as kind of the template for what we went with. And that's where they also talk about in their request for reconsideration of materials, they've got that same verbiage about by signing this complaint, you're identifying yourself. So basically, that was the evolution of that document as far as how we wanted to update the policy. And just for your sake, since you're a student here kind of learning about a lot of this stuff, if you've heard in the news about people challenging materials within libraries based on content that they find questionable, we have to have a policy at the library to basically say how we're going to handle complaints like that. So if someone comes to us and says, hey, I don't like this book that you've got in your collection, I think you should get rid of it, we've got a process in place that they're supposed to follow to challenge that material, put it under review, and then ultimately it may come to the board's decision whether or not we keep that material or not. So that's kind of what this is in reference to, is those kind of challenges to collection materials. So that collection management policy, that Berwyn one is the one that we used as a guide. So if that is the only sticking point to getting that policy passed, we can tweak that language differently if the board wants that language tweaked. But I do want to get this at least finalized, because these types of challenges are happening out in other libraries, and it would be nice to have something more up to date in our policy manual.
Okay. I'm gonna nitpick some of the wording. On page 2 of 5, this is where he starts with the yellow lines. You added, ease of use.
I'm sorry. Let me double check, because I know this was something we had, this is the March packet. Just to make sure I wrote some notes down. Okay. Yeah, so I apologize, because this has been kicked on for so long. I did have notes that there was some things that were redundant that may not have been taken out yet.
Okay,
So-
because the ease of use is availability of an item in alternate formats, seems to be the same thing, or you could put availability of alternative formats.
I know
more
back,
easily
I know
used.
back in March, you had pointed out that bullet 4, relevance to the existing collection, strengths and weaknesses, seemed redundant to bullet, the second from the last one, importance of work in adding balance or filling gaps in the collection.
Yeah.
So that was something that we were going to, that was something we were gonna tweak.
Okay, so we do not have a document to vote on.
We can vote on a document saying we approve it pending these specific changes.
Okay,
Yeah, we can do that.
all right.
And you want to remove ease of use?
To me, that's where it says above availability of an item in alternative formats. That's ease of use. You're making it available in various formats.
Just like double written, that's what you're trying to say.
Yeah, to me, it's the same thing,
It's not necessary.
Mhm.
So which one do you want to remove?
Ease of use.
Ease of use?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so let's remove that.
And that was in relation to bullet 5, availability of item in an alternate use.
Was there any other?
And then
And then you had talked about relevance to the existing collection, strengths and weaknesses, and importance of work in adding balance or filling gaps in the collection.
That's the same.
So is there one or the other you prefer?
I think I'd stick with the first one.
Okay.
I don't know what she's saying, Marge.
So the fourth bullet down, so we're on page 205.
Okay, yeah, I know, I'm
The
there.
fourth bullet down says relevance to the existing collection's strength and weaknesses.
And then what she wants to be, what is?
And then the second from the last one says importance of work in adding balance or filling gaps in the collection. So she's saying that it's relevance to the strength and weaknesses. If it's filling a gap in the collection, it's dealing with the weakness of the collection. So it's kind of belt and suspenders. So we could just take out that second one, the one that was added, because it's highlighted in yellow. So we'll just take out that one and keep the fourth bullet.
I don't get this on that last new bullet. As far as toy and material acquisitions, what does that have to do with what it says before that?
Is that in the kids area?
Yeah, this is specifically a youth-related thing.
Yeah, they have.
It's just something stuck on there. It-
Applicability towards library mission of developing a lifelong love of reading, the arts, and library use through collections, services, and programs for children's, teens, and adults that will stimulate their imaginations, meet their interests, and encourage them to read for pleasure as far as toy material acquisitions. We could just say we're gonna take it out, or, again, I'd hate to kick this off for another month.
It's
So-
not, we're just gonna do with corrections.
I'll just take that parenthetical out.
Uh-huh.
Because I don't see, we're talking about reading throughout the whole
Well-
sentence, and then this toys and.
But
But there, you guys have in your
Yes, we
library.
do have, I
it's,
understand, but
but
there's.
the bullet's not about reading, it's about developing a love of reading. And if they could use toys or other materials to help develop that love of reading, whether it's a toy
Okay,
that
but
encourages.
the way it's,
Yeah.
it needs to be rewritten to.
Yeah,
Or just,
It's tacked on and doesn't seem to have any
Sure.
connection.
Okay, so then we need to agree to what it's gonna be written for if we're voting on it today.
I'm sorry?
Us need to recommend what the wording should be then if we're changing it, because we're voting on it.
So we don't postpone it for
Right.
another meeting.
So we can just, like I said, I can just strike out that parenthetical as far as toy material acquisitions, since that does seem, somewhat vague, and it's not exactly written in a way that I think a policy document should be written. But that would be fine. We could just strike that out.
Or
So just
not
that
to,
last part.
the arts and library use through collections, toys, and, well, materials is big. Toys, services, and programs.
So
for
just add the word
children.
toys next to collections. No? Just add the word toys right
See.
after the word collections.
Through toys, through collections and toys.
Through collections, toys, services, and programs for
okay.
children.
I got
Yeah,
you.
see
Yeah.
now, and again, this is kind of where. So,
Put,
so the goal is to develop a lifelong love of reading, the arts, and library use. So that's the goal. We're developing a lifelong love of reading, the arts, and library use.
okay.
How we're going to develop that love of lifelong reading, the arts, and library use is through collections, services, and programs for children's, teens, and adults that will stimulate their imaginations. So now, again, This, as far as toy material acquisitions is concerned, it doesn't necessarily have to be in that statement. I mean, we're just saying that our collections
Include.
and services, toy and material acquisitions is part of that.
Okay, so
So-
just erase that last
So
part.
I could just strike out
Yeah,
this last part about the toy and material acquisitions,
and let it be.
and it just will be assumed that that will be part of collections, because that's what it is. The toys and the materials are part of collections.
Okay.
Those collections are part of the mission of developing a lifelong love of reading, the arts, and libraries.
Agreed.
There you go.
That works. All right, any other issues?
Let's see. I don't. The request for reconsideration, I thought some of it was, please comment on the resource as a whole as well as being specific on those matters to which you object. Please be specific, cite pages or frames or sections. I don't know, I thought it was kind of, could be worded more simply, but
Did
maybe
we
I'm
change it
wrong.
last time and?
Say again?
We talked about it last time and we changed it?
I don't see any notes from March that we talked about that one. Please comment on the resource as a whole, as well as being specific on those matters to which you object. Please be specific, cite pages or frames or sections. So that's just asking the person to identify.
Yeah,
Yeah, the only thing,
well, let's see here, the one in Berlin, let's see here. Oh. Actually, that's the same, okay.
yeah, theirs talks about lyrics, because I think they're
Okay.
adding, like, if someone were to challenge an explicit music CD, that
Mhm.
people complained or objected to some of the lyrics in a CD. I think that's why they have that written in the Berlin one.
Oh, yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah, it is.
You're right.
Was it?
It's chilly in here.
You want my jacket? Because I'm like,
He said,
You're dying.
I'm like, oh, we've got, trustee applicants coming in to interview. I'm like, I guess I have to wear a tie. I don't normally wear a tie.
He's showing off.
I have no
I
issues.
think this is
Okay,
fine.
I
Yeah.
take back what I said on that.
Okay.
Alright, good to go?
I think it's good.
So we have to vote to.
All right, yes, any other issues on them?
I don't see any.
I move we accept this collection management policy as amended.
As amended with regards to the page 205, so I will be striking out,
As the toy part and the easy.
striking out ease of use, striking out the importance of work and adding balance or filling in collection, and striking out the, as far as toy material acquisitions are concerned.
Yes, agreed.
Second.
Okay, Natasha, thank you. Okay, Sam?
Yes.
Natasha? Edgar?
Yes.
Sylvia?
Yes.
Marge, yes. Rosa?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, so new business, we have regarding the approval of staff travel
Oh,
expenditure.
and I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Did I forget that on yours too? Let me double check. Yes, so I'm sorry, go back to the one I tore out for you. We also have,
A reconsideration of library.
I already lost it. What's this on?
every year you have to do your board positions. So whether or not you want, if you're gonna stay as president, if Natasha's gonna stay as treasurer, if Marge's gonna stay as secretary, you either can vote for new positions or someone could just nominate, if you wanna just,
Got it.
Leave
All
it
right,
as
so
is.
new business,
Where are we?
so new business, number Number 7, letter A? 9, 8. 10 minus 1 is 9.
yeah, unfortunately.
I don't have that.
Yeah, let me.
No wonder I'm a C.
When I sent,
Yeah, I don't have it either, but I think it was online.
yeah, when I sent out after Joanne caught that I left out the department reports.
So
I'm
that's in the new
like
business.
looking for something that's not there.
Yeah.
Here is,
All right, so you'll put it up on the board. All right, so let's go through these. So letter A. So, Marge, would you like to,
I will.
Proceed as secretary.
She doesn't have any choice.
Sylvia, would you like to stay trustee or be considered for a different position?
I'm gonna stay a trustee.
Okay. Edgar, would you like to stay trustee or be considered for a different position?
I'll stay.
Okay, Ms.
Isn't he vice president?
Oh, that's right, you are
Oh, yeah,
vice president.
technically, yes, my bad. You will stay as vice president?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll stay.
All right. Sam?
I stay.
All right, then I will stay as president.
You-
If anyone wants to throw their hat and their name
So
ring.
I think someone would have to make a motion that the positions.
I move that we accept the
Retain.
slate of officers that has been presented.
I second.
Okay. Sam?
Yes.
Natasha?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. I said it, but it was in the same.
Edgar?
Yes.
Sylvia?
Yes.
Marge, yes. Rosa?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, moving on to the approval of staff travel. Motion approved the staff travel.
I make a motion.
Second.
Okay. I'll second it. Who's Sam got it? Okay. Sam?
Yes.
Natasha?
Yes.
Edgar?
Yes.
Sylvia?
Yeah.
Marge, yes. Rosa?
Yes. All right, then we have new business for the, how do you say this, Hearn and Associates?
Hearn and Associates?
Hearn and Associates
Yeah.
engagement letter for
Yep.
our fiscal year 2022 audit.
And if you look at, one,
They're giving
two,
us a-
3, 4, on page 5 of their audit, but I'll also put it up on the screen. Last year, we just did a single year contract with them. We could do the same this year if we want to.
But, they want us to do what, a 5-year
Well, no, they gave us alternatives.
option?
So, if we, so in the, letter of engagement from Hearn and Associates, we could do a single year again like we did last year, of $86.95 for the year. Or they also said if we wanted to sign up for a 3-year contract, it would be $85.50. So, basically instead of $86.95 for the FY22 audit, it would only be $85.50 for that year. 2023 it would be increased to $88.75, and 2024 increased to $91.75. I don't know what their standard percentage increase is.
Yeah, well, that would be interesting to know,
Yeah.
wouldn't it?
I mean, if we,
Well, the way the prices are going up, nobody can determine
Every
how
day.
everything is gonna go, so.
if I have that up still, that one here, 1 second.
Oh, we estimate our fees to be $86.95 for the year ending 2022. So they're giving us a discount.
They're giving us about 100.
Yeah, but are those fees like for sure or they?
That's
They're estimated.
a threat, it's a threat. This is what it's gonna be if you don't pay the $85.50, it's gonna be $86.95.
So no matter what, even if you go with a 3-year program, it can still go up and
Yeah.
if we don't,
If we
it-
sign the contract for 3 years, this is what it's gonna be.
oh, not
No,
necessarily, it
not
can go up.
necessarily, because they said estimated,
Yeah.
yes.
The,
Maybe it's better to keep them on their feet, just go year to year. And it's smart to
interesting.
do it or not smart.
So it was actually $88.95 for the fiscal 21 audit. So it looks like they are cutting us a break either way. It looks like it went from $88.95 down to, well, I'm sorry. The $88.95, that's not accurate because there's the fee, but then there's also additional expenses that they add on to that also.
Yes, yes.
So, so last year, the audit was $83.50, and so it's going up from $83.50 for a single year to $86.95 for a single year. And then they had file reports with outside agencies, they charged us $250. Report production and processing costs, they charged us $225. And then postage was $35 and travel costs was $35.
So it's like $345 more than last year.
Yeah. But so I'm sure there'll be some amount of discounting to do a 3-year versus a 1-year. Whether or not that's worth it or not, we could just do another 1 year. I mean, I know that we were doing the sickage
Yeah,
year
just
after
go to
year. And I don't remember if the sickage was just done year to year or if that was.
It was year to year.
It was this year to year?
Yeah.
Okay. So just, then someone will just need to make a motion to, if.
Does anyone feel passionate about doing it a 3-year?
Well, look, we
or,
found this firm
Yeah.
by getting different firms in.
We quote, we have quotes
yeah,
and stuff.
last
We
year,
saved a lot of money.
last year we got multiple quotes. Sickage, I want to say, was like up around 11,000, maybe
Yes.
12,000.
They're still like 3,000 cheaper than
Right.
Stitch, but
Right. Yeah,
And they did just a good job.
yeah.
Yes, Joanne, how were they, this is the lady who
Yeah.
asked
You
me
tell
to
us.
work with them.
Stickage was more thorough. Hers wasn't as thorough as Stickage. Stickage really thrilled me, in regards to wanting to see every detail. Hers was good as well, however, they weren't as thorough.
Did you like working with them?
Yeah, no, they were very well, friendly and easy to work with. I didn't have any problems.
That's nice.
Okay, well, that's,
Okay, so then are we voting then 1 year or 3 year? Marjorie, what's your What do you lean
I don't know
towards?
what to say.
think about it, Sylvia?
I know that's
We
what.
we have gotten
So it's
started
not to
with
dump
long-term
it.
contracts in the past, so.
Okay, so you're leaning towards 1 year, 1 year,
I'm leaning towards
one. All right, let's keep them for 1.
Is there a motion?
Oh yeah, is there a motion to,
I make a motion
Second.
to accept, what is it?
Their proposal
The
for,
associates engagement from year to year.
No,
for
yeah,
the
for 1 year.
2022 audit?
For 20
It's not that big of a difference anymore.
For 1 year.
engage,
It's not like they're giving us the
No.
No.
Alright, so
$345 difference.
we'll just say they're engaging Hearn and Associates or whatever for
1 year.
fiscal year,
22 audit.
Mhm.
is it a fiscal year? Because the fiscal year is what, 21, 22?
Yes.
Okay, well,
Yeah,
that's,
the fiscal year ending next month. They'll
okay,
be auditing us.
so 2021 to 2022, okay. Oh, all right, now we have the motion.
I think it was Natasha and Sam.
Sam,
Yes.
Sam got it, Natasha and Sam. Yes, Natasha, Edgar,
Yes.
Sylvia,
Yes.
Marge, yes, Rosa?
Yep.
Okay.
Alright, so then, now we have the meeting schedule for the fiscal year of 2023. Does anyone have any issues with these dates? I did look, no holidays fall on them. December, of course, always is needed. November was moved up. Anyone else have problems with any dates?
Well, you never know.
When we get there. Alright, so,
What,
let's-
well, what we'll do is, like you said, we'll try to see if we can maybe do maybe a meeting at Forest View and maybe a meeting.
oh yeah, can you look into that?
Yeah, I'll definitely look into that.
So then can we still approve it with you, like, amending this? Like, let's say yes, we are able to do it in Central Sydney?
But you see, in the notes it tells you, like, meetings held at 6 p.m. in the conference room of the Stickney-Forest Public Library unless otherwise
Oh,
posted. So
true,
you cover yourself right there.
Yeah.
true, yeah.
And we can.
And are we still happy with 6 o'clock? Do we want to go back to 7?
Thoughts, feelings, opinions, 6 o'clock, is that doable? People who work?
We seem to be managing.
Okay, cool, 6 o'clock it is.
Okay. And as far as meeting someplace else, that would be like posting the minutes?
Yeah,
We-
48 hours in advance is my guess. I'll research it. If for some reason we can't do it, then.
Well, that would be the minimum. We
Yeah,
can
yeah.
always post,
Right.
a month ahead of time, but
Right,
just, that would be the minimum then.
Okay, I make a motion to accept.
Does that really need a motion?
I don't remember
I
offhand.
think that's more
I
just,
think we do.
Yeah.
Well, let's make
Do
a
it just in
motion.
case.
What the
Yeah,
heck?
just in case.
I make a motion to accept the
Motion's never long.
meeting schedule for fiscal year of 23.
I'll
Okay.
second.
Edgar, okay. Sam,
Yes.
Natasha,
Yes.
Edgar,
Yes.
Sylvia,
Yes.
Marge, yes, Rosa.
Yes. All right, so the draft budget, we don't vote on that until June, but it's just, does anyone have any questions, concerns about it, anything you want to bring to Layton's?
Yeah, some of you, let me move this over. Actually, no, what I'm gonna do is. So some of you, so when I sent the packet out originally, I had a different number for my estimated property tax revenue. That was based on the 7% CPI, and so I was trying to assume we'd get 7% higher. But then I was talking to my financial coach the other day, and he reminded me that we're capped at a 5% increase. If we were to try doing more than a 5% increase, we'd have to do a truth and taxation hearing. So I changed this to strip out anything more than that 5% CPI increase. So now I've got my scientific wild ass guess of property tax revenue at being 1,136,000, the 140,900 for the debt service. We did not pass the building and maintenance tax, so that's 0, and then the 75,000 for the revenue, and that 1,351,900 is our estimate of the tax money we're going to have to be able to spend in the upcoming fiscal year. And so anything in here that's highlighted green are my tentative budgeted amounts. There are some areas that I have bumped up. So, you know, we had been, originally we had kind of, here we go. So under expenses, we've been adding some more interesting databases to the collection. Now, some of the new databases were paid for with the ARPA audit. So like anything that was job related, job seeker related, that was paid for out of the ARPA grant money. But we've also added, we used to have Tumble Books for the youth department. They also had this Tumble Math database. So we add database, it's just like an e-service for the youth department. We've added that. We've added a number of other things. Where'd my mouse go? Here it is. So,
Digital resources.
so like, you know, under e-resources, so we have always been using Overdrive for our ebook collection, and that was about $3,000 every year. But then Overdrive just recently added digital magazines to the collection also, and that's costing an additional $1,200. We used to, years ago, have Zinio for our digital magazines, and we got rid of it. But since Overdrive is making this available and you use the same ebook reader, that Libby reader that you use for ebooks, you can now read magazines through that. So I bumped up the e-resources a little bit to 10,000. I bumped up the databases to 17,000 to cover some additional ones. Sorry, I didn't realize that was cancel. Anything in red are still tentative. Now, years ago, when we were having more financial difficulties, we started cutting back on some of our collection budget lines. I'm going to jump ahead real quick. Right now, based on what I'm looking at, the budget, first off, our net income for this year actual is potentially going to be a lot higher. We had a lot of savings from salaries that didn't happen. We had a lot of months without a department head for the adult services department. We had some full-time staff members that we lost through attrition that we didn't replace right away, and then we replaced with part-timers. So we did actually have, it looks like we might be on track to have a positive number in our net income high enough to where at the end of this fiscal year, we could potentially move some of that money into the special reserves fund. So instead of taking out of special reserves funds, we potentially can be moving back into the special reserves funds. Right now, based on the current budget, I'm looking at, I've got about 200,000 of buffer there too. So right now, I'm in the process of trying to build back up some of our collections. So like we have been budgeting about 8,000 for print. I'm starting to bring that back up again. I'm looking at $10,000 for the adult print collection, 3,000 to 4,000 for the adult AV. The periodicals, we've actually scaled back on the print periodicals. particularly because we also then added that digital periodical collection. So that's actually, I brought that down from 5,400 to 4,250. But then the adult programming, I'm trying to bump that back up again. Similarly, youth program, young adult, trying to bump their, I'm bringing them up a little bit from 1,000 to 1,500, programming 750 to 1,000. These numbers, based on how things look, I might try to bring up a little bit more, but this is kind of what we're looking at as our draft budget right now. Anything? I'm sorry?
Sorry.
Oh, I was gonna say, anything else, a lot of times I was just bumping up whatever the last year's amount was by a potential 7% CPI increase. So if something was.
Yeah, but if it's only 5%,
Well, no. We, from our tax generation, we can't go above 5%.
right.
But the CPI is 7% regardless. So what we end up having to pay for things
Oh.
could still be
Okay,
potentially
gotcha.
7% higher.
Gotcha.
But yeah, so this is kind of where I'm looking at tentatively for our fiscal 23 operational budget. We have a few other things that we don't have to worry about this upcoming year. The loan that was for the media box, that kind of DVD vending machine, that's been paid off, so that's going to be an annual expense we don't have to worry about anymore. Yeah, so I mean, are there any general questions about, we won't be voting on this today. This was just kind of give you an initial look at it.
See, grant other, you went from 50,000 to 20,000. Estimating that you're gonna.
Are you talking about the income?
Income, yes.
Yeah, so that 50,000 was this year based on the ARPA grants that I had applied for.
Yeah.
And those grants won't be around next year.
Oh, okay.
So there are still other grants that we're potentially going to try applying for. And basically, anything that is in those grant income lines, there's a matching expense in the grant expense line. So if we don't get those grants on the income side, we're not going to be spending that money on the expense side either. So they're kind of balancing each
It was
other
just
out.
like a huge difference.
Yeah, that was because it was a $25,000 ARPA grant for the transforming spaces, and that's where like 20,000 of it went towards the new smart lockers, about another 3,000 of it went towards, we bought that big kind of canopy tent so that youth could try doing outdoor things if we ever had to worry about not letting people in the library. We could do things outside still, and those heaters, exactly. But yeah, those were, one and done grants that we're not expecting to have
What
available.
about the legal expense, you like cut it in half?
We've been pretty conservative. We haven't had to go to them for anything.
Well, thank God, but
right.
you wanna leave it maybe at 10,000?
Again, that is the draft of what we
I mean,
expect.
like cutting in the half, I think it's
No,
too much.
totally.
Historically, our legal expenses have always been low, kind of like what you've seen for this year.
Yes,
It was
yes.
only those 2 years where it went through the roof.
There is no reason why we can't, like right now, we budgeted 14,000 for fiscal 22. We've only spent about 3,000 so far.
Yeah.
There's no reason why we can't budget another 14,000 for next year. I'm just not expecting us to have to pay that much for next year. Now we could budget, I could bump that up to 14,000 again. And
No, I was
if
thinking like at least leave it maybe 10, I don't know.
Yeah.
Just to have so. I
yeah,
don't know.
it's
If it's still 3,000, perfect.
exactly.
Awesome.
It's whatever we budget for it, and if we end up not spending it, it's not going to hurt us anything. And like I
I
said,
understand it.
we've got, it's not as tight. Right now we've got room to where if we want to bump that up and we don't need to, it's the old better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. We could bump that up to 10,000 without a problem. It's just,
That's what I was
Yeah.
thinking,
I
I'd
was,
rather not see the negative thing at the end of
At
the
the
next
end.
fiscal year.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, just write that down for when we vote on it, bring that up to time. All right, cool, any other
Oh,
questions?
just, are you, I want to make sure that we keep our employees happy. Are we keeping up the wages to keep up?
well,
That's
right,
next.
yeah, that's next. So right now,
That's what I'm looking at.
this administrative salaries budgeted amount is based on the 3% raise. But that's a whole other topic that'll be next on the agenda we can talk about. Because again, right now, it looks like CPI is going up 7%. So traditionally in the past, we've done about 2% every year. This year, I had Joanne run the numbers for, and that should also be, each of you should have had the printout. It's 2% on one side, 3% on the opposite side. But those aren't necessarily the only numbers we have to consider. You know, if
There's a couple of people we gotta make sure we keep happy, and that's Mark and Danielle,
you know,
and Ken.
Why wouldn't they be happy?
We have to make sure we keep them happy.
They make good money, they don't be happy.
Ken, I mean,
I think we saved this year, so.
yeah. So that projection that was the printout is based on either a 2% or a 3%. But you know, this spreadsheet, we can plug in any number we want. So here's looking at a 5%. That gives us, you know, a different number. We could plug in, you know, a 0.07% if we wanted to look at a different number there. 7% gives us about a $692,000 salary line. So, I mean, this is where, you know, the 2 and the 3% were based on what we kind of historically did. But I didn't want that to be the end of the discussion if you guys wanted to consider other factors. You know, just out of example, if I were to say 693 in the budget, you know, by bumping up that budget, that salary line to 693, as of right now, we're still looking at 185,000 in our net income. So it seems like we've got enough of a buffer to where we could even absorb that high of an increase to offset the CPI of 7% if we wanted to go that route.
How much is that percent?
This is the 7%.
7.
Yeah, this is, the 693,000 is assuming about a 7% increase if we wanted to go that route.
Yeah, and the other thing that we have to consider with the salaries is the health insurance and what we offer because.
True. True. Yeah, that is just looking at the salary line.
And health insurance, of course, as we know, is
If we,
Do we need to vote on salaries today, or are you just reviewing?
I think traditionally, Joanne, do they traditionally vote on the salaries in this month, or do they?
There's a discussion, and then usually in June, we actually.
Because we did
Okay,
budget.
so the vote itself will be in June then.
Okay, so just things to consider. So thank you for giving us the printout for 2 and 3. As you can see, we can go up to 7, but keeping health insurance in mind. So then just next month, please come prepared with what number we should put in.
Yeah, if there's anything that you would like to see, let us know, and we could, you know, run different numbers to send you whatever numbers.
does anybody have any ideas?
I mean, I don't even know why you're considering 7%.
Mine is minimum 3.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
thinking like 3 or 4.
Yeah, that's what I was.
Yeah.
I think industry standards are like 2%.
What?
2%.
Oh, I'm thinking, you
Standard.
gotta go more. You gotta go 3 or 4.
Look at here.
If you're considering 2 and you're considering 4, then 3 would be a middle line.
That's what we're looking
I
at,
mean,
Marge?
you've got somebody making $15 an hour.
You got somebody made 13.
Well, and that's,
They can make that at McDonald's.
and that's gonna be a whole other issue that we're gonna be dealing with, is as the minimum wage creeps up, we're still gonna have to adjust salaries to prevent compression at the lower end of the
Oh, they
salary
have to
scale.
make $15 an hour now, don't they?
No, it's, the minimum wage
Well,
is,
let's put it this way, they have to make $15 an hour.
Well, we have somebody
If they get a job
making
at
13.
Wendy's for $15
Well,
an hour, they have to make $15 an hour.
the legal minimum wage is right now $12.22,
Okay.
$13 in 2023,
But when the
$14 in
signs say
2024.
$15 a minimum, in order to keep them, they have to make
We're gonna prorate
$15
it, we're
an hour.
gonna, yeah, we're gonna adjust it.
But see, we also have to keep in mind, because I don't know if at $15 an hour at Wendy's, if they get health insurance or not, and we are,
These don't get health insurance.
Only one
$50.
person is making $15 an hour, come on.
Part-time, they don't get health insurance.
Why don't you quote majority making? You have to see that everything is around 30. So when you give them 7% or 5%, that's gonna be a lot.
So the increase is across the board? Yeah.
Generally, we traditionally have done just an across-the-board raise. Yeah, we haven't really done merit-based raises or anything like that. It would generally just say across the board, we're going to give either a 2% raise or a 3% raise. And in the past, when CPI was only like 0.7, we would still do like a 2% raise. I think a few years ago it was 1.4 and we still did a 2% raise. This year though, it's a 7% CPI increase, so.
I feel like those should be merit-based though. Like, why would I want to be good versus the person next to me if we're both getting the same raise?
You know, there's an argument for that, and merit-based wages is an option. It's just one that we haven't traditionally done here, but I mean, some libraries do a hybrid where, you know, there'll be a across-the-board raise of maybe 1%, and then some people could get merit-based wages on top of that.
I like that idea.
Yeah, I mean, there are definitely options. They rely on a solid review process,
Which we'd have to implement.
which we'd have to make sure we have implemented. Some libraries do goal-based, so that, you know, these are your specific goals for the year, and if you meet these goals, that's what your merit's based on, versus a more
Well,
nebulous.
that's what we do for you
Yeah.
when we go into closed session. I feel like you should do that for them. So I think if you can just consider this for, okay, this year it's across the board, don't make any changes. Next month we'll vote on the percentage amounts. But if you can start looking into for the following year, if we can start putting something together where, like, yes, it's 1% across the board, and then the rest some type of goal merit-based kind of thing.
when, the thing is when you're a nonprofit, you're,
We'll still have a cap.
it's, how can I say, a business, the business increases with inflation.
You don't have enough employees to do that, I don't think.
Do you, Leighton, do you like feel like there is anyone, like if it was merit-based, would someone not get it?
There you go, that's a good.
Putting me on the spot.
No, you don't have to say who, but
No.
would there be someone falling in that category?
I mean, it gets down to the discussion of meeting requirements versus exceeding requirements. And it's like everybody meets the requirements. I wouldn't say everybody exceeds requirement, you know, exceeds their expectations. And if the merit is based on exceeding, then there might be some people that wouldn't get a merit base. If it's like, if this is the bare minimum of your job, and you're doing that, that's great. You're doing your job, and that's why we're paying you. You know, that would be a whole other research project to dig into and to look into.
Yeah, so not for this year at all,
Yeah.
but in the future, maybe.
Okay.
Okay, any questions about the raises? Just come next month prepared. Or email Leighton if you have any questions or want to review something specifically. Cool, alright, so in the essence of time,
So we have the consent agenda for those policies.
yep, so there are 3 policies that we have, that are being amended. Is there a motion to adopt the consent agenda, which
I
is?
so move.
Thank you.
Second.
Alright, is there a motion to approve? Oh, sorry.
Did anyone have any, so in the packet, again, things that are highlighted in red are the things that were added to the policy, things that were struck through or things that were taken out of the policy. This is the one we were talking about last week, so I added the, if approved, assuming availability of funds, 1/2 of the tuition will be reimbursed up to $4,000 per fiscal year. This was one option I think I emailed you guys about. We can cap it at a dollar amount per fiscal year. Some libraries will cap it at, we only pay for 1 class per semester. We'll only pay, you know, up to a certain dollar amount per semester. This one here, I was using one particular library as a model. They say, okay, whatever the tuition you're paying this term, we'll pay half of it. And then you get capped at, for full-time employees, $4,000 per fiscal year, or $2,000 per fiscal year for regular part-time employees. I struck out the line about relevance to the course or the mission. The strategic plan would be considered, because that was the whole basis of it. It seemed kind of redundant. Each award may be equal to the full cost of tuition for a course. Also seemed redundant. I think we basically covered that in an earlier bullet point. I just added the line, each course you must present evidence of satisfactory completion with at least a C average. I just added the line to receive reimbursement, just because it seemed like that line was kind of vague, and that just added clarity. I struck out the part about refunding. That was something you guys brought up last month. They're not even going to be applying they're not going to get the money until they apply after completing and providing proof of a good grade. So that refunding the amount if they don't get a good grade didn't seem to make much sense. I added the part about must requesting reimbursement within 6 months. That was something we talked about last month, because we didn't want somebody like a year later saying, oh, I want reimbursement for that course I took back in 2022. So those were all the changes in there. And then the big one obviously was what your comfort level was for the dollar amount. One thing we're trying to get it more standardized, because it seems like looking at past reimbursement, it didn't seem like there was necessarily a rhyme or reason. It was just one person got maybe $1,500, one person maybe got $2,000, and we're just trying to come up with some kind of hard system for saying, okay, so that everybody's treated equally with term when it comes to the tuition reimbursement. What is it that everybody could be expecting to get if they apply for tuition reimbursement?
Well, isn't that where that the third bullet, reimbursement, will be no more than the rate of hourly tuition at Wharton College or the U of I? And maybe we could combine that with reimbursement up to the $4,000, depending on the availability of sufficient funding, of course, we can cap it
Can
in
you
there.
put that on the screen, because I
Yep.
don't think they
Um,
have this material.
Hang on one second.
I proposed budget.
That's it.
That's it. Thank you, go farther, thank you.
If you want to do standardization as far as what people get, then there would be tuition based on Wharton College and U of I
Well,
would seem to me.
Yeah, there is that, but there's also, if one person takes 3 courses in the semester and applies for reimbursement for all 3 of those courses, and the next person only takes 1 class and they only apply for 1 course's reimbursement, it's like, as long as they understand that, they could have potentially gotten reimbursed, we could say, oh yeah, well, you only got X amount of money because you only took 1 course and you only applied for that course's reimbursement. It's mainly just to say that, it's up to them what they want to get reimbursed for, but everybody's going to have that cap.
What about for people who go from part-time to full-time?
If once they became full-time, they'd be eligible for the full-time rate. What are you talking about? If
Like for the
someone,
first, it's 4,000 if you're employed full-time, but like what if in the middle of my studies, or it just matters like when I request it?
I would think that if they got promoted to full-time, they would immediately then qualify
Just
for the
qualify.
full-time. I
Okay.
don't see why that wouldn't be an issue.
Standard.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, I'm okay with the wording. Anyone, questions?
I'm still,
And I don't believe, oh, I don't know for sure. I believe everyone that has applied has done it for MLS, like library science degree courses. And then just for comparison, so like U of I, it's weird when it talks about in-person courses. Most of the people taking courses, wanting reimbursement, have been taking online courses. So to me, that makes sense then to be like, okay, well, this is what U of I pays for online courses. So that seems to me to be the logical comparison there. So that if U of I pays $6.33 per credit hour for an online course, if someone is getting their MLS through San Jose or something, that would be the maximum amount that we would pay regardless of what online school they're going to. If somebody were to enroll at Dominican and be taking an in-person class at Dominican, then it might be a question of, we might have to figure out then what the U of I, what they charge for actual in-person classes. And that's where it gets kind of, I don't know, I haven't been to college in decades. So, I don't know. So that whole aspect of it could potentially be a little more confusing going forward. But as of right now, everyone's been taking online courses. So it seems to me that that U of I online course amount is a reasonable one. And the one that's up for discussion later, the course that they're taking is well below that $600 U of I course. So that's not even an issue. But again, I think the wording of the continuation policy, where'd my mouse go? There it is. Was strictly that, so that everybody knows that,
No more than.
they're going to pay. And again, this is kind of one possible scenario, but this one says, okay, yeah, we'll pay for half of your tuition, and ultimately you'll get capped at $4,000 for the year. And if you take 3 classes this term, we'll pay for half of that this term, and if next term you take another 3 classes, you might not get the same amount next term because you'll be capped at that $4,000 amount for the year.
It has to be in this particular field, not in Pig Latin or something.
Yeah, it is for job-related graduate study. So unless we had like a large patron base that spoke Pig Latin, that we would need to have staff that were skilled at it, I don't think that would be considered job-related. Same thing, job-related undergraduate coursework, that's where we pay only Morton College, and it would still have to be job-related. So if someone was getting an undergraduate degree in cooking, we wouldn't reimburse them for a cooking class. It would have to be somehow job-related.
Okay.
Okay, what's the next one?
Yeah, can we move on?
The other ones then are much simpler. The public bidding policy in the past was written with a cap of $20,000, but the state law changed to make that be a $25,000 amount. As for when you need to go to public bidding, it has to be above $25,000 instead of $20,000. So that's just to bring the existing document up into alignment with the state law. So that if you look, the only things that have been changed in the entire document are striking out $20,000, adding in $25,000. Similarly, for the homeschooling policy, the only change in that one was in the old policy, it referenced overdue fines, and we're now a fine-free library. So we're just striking that out of the policy because that's no longer relevant. We don't charge overdue fines for materials anymore. So those second 2 were strictly kind of just administrative, bringing this up into
Alright.
the present.
Let's pass it.
Alright, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I so move.
I'll second.
And Edgar, okay. Sam,
Yes.
Natasha,
Yes.
Edgar,
Yes.
Sylvia? Yes. Marge, yes.
Yes.
Rosa?
Alright, so then we have the tuition reimbursement request. Did we have more paperwork from her?
Yes, so do we want to go into closed session for that?
Can we do public comment first, so we don't have to kick them out and then bring them back?
Oh, yeah, sure, we can do that.
Did you guys have anything?
Beautiful, thank you.
Oh, yes, oh my God, I bet you were.
I was gonna jump in anyways. I was gonna jump in anyways and leave. I have another meeting at 10, and I'm gonna take Deborah and Jay with me. 1 second, you gotta listen to this. I'd like to invite you all to our Memorial Day program, Monday, May 30th at 11 a.m. Monday is coming up, 30th at 11 a.m. at 39th in Richmond. There'll be a light lunch afterwards at the American Legion. I hope Sylvia's cooking.
Yeah, I'm doing it all myself.
We love your pasta. We love your pasta salad. One other one. Oh, I spoke with a resident yesterday, and I told him I was coming to the meeting here. Lane, by chance, you guys have still have zoo passes?
I believe, I don't know if we,
We offer them, but it depends on how many people have checked them out during the week.
yeah.
Yeah, so they set it up. Now, is that free with a library card, or you have to pay something?
It's free. So
Free
you just go, and it's called Museums on Us. And so but the zoo is one of them. And they just go to the front desk and just say, hey, do we have any passes?
Right. That would
I think it's 4, we can offer it to 4 households per week.
Okay. But like I say, they want to go next Saturday, and if they're available, you sign up for
Yep.
next Saturday. Okay.
If they go to our webpage,
Okay.
one of these pop-ups is the Explore More Illinois and the Museum Adventure Pass. If they click on that, it'll take them to the page,
Okay.
and they should be able to find on here
Right
like
up, Brookfield.
Brookfield Zoo.
Okay.
They can click on that.
Yeah, I just didn't know due to COVID, maybe you guys didn't have the passes, or maybe they didn't.
Well, we don't have unlimited supplies to hand
Yeah.
out.
Right, that's why just 4 per household, but
Yeah.
it's a paper we print out, and they just take the paper to the library. So it's not a pass.
Yep.
Good. Rosa, thank you. Sam?
Thank you, and Mayor, we invite you to our block party.
Yes, I will be here. Yes,
Um,
and Public Works will take care of your police, whatever you need. I'm here.
Thank you, thanks.
All
Welcome.
right.
And Deborah, welcome officially.
I just want to say thank you guys very much. I look forward to working with all of you.
We look forward to working with you as well.
I'll be, hey Deborah, I'll be in touch also to get you a whole packet of
Okay.
new trustee information.
Okay.
Usually it's like,
Do you know when you're gonna do it? Just because we had that miscommunication with your email the first time. So maybe you said you didn't get my first email, but then I got the second one. I didn't
Oh.
know if I never got it.
oh, that's weird,
So
okay.
also I have my phone number in there with text.
Sure.
I don't know if you text or.
Yeah,
not,
yeah, yeah.
that's right. You can text me like I sent you the email, just so I can
Okay.
look forward to getting it. You know,
Sure,
like that.
yeah,
Or if
basically,
you know you're gonna do it like by the end of the week,
it's gonna take a little while. Basically, I'm gonna pull together like the past year's worth of these board packets that you can review if you wanted. And then there's also like some new trustee training opportunities. So I'll put all that stuff together and get in touch with you.
No rush. Thank
Okay.
you. Thanks,
Thank you.
everyone.
We'll see you at the block party.
I'll be at the block party.
All right, awesome.
Thank you.
You got it, all right, let's go, Jay.
Thanks, Jay, for joining us.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks.
All right, so is there a motion to move into closed session?
I so move.
All right, let's make this quick.
So,
We need, who's,
well, technically you don't have to go
I'll
into closed
second
session if no one's in the
Sam,
room.
closed session?
Yes.
Yeah, Edgar?
Yes.
Sylvia?
Yes.
Marge? Yes. Rosa?
Yes.
Okay. There we are.
Because I don't have the, I don't know what we're doing.
Closed session,
For just
discussing.
the tuition reimbursement, she provided, remember we asked her for more backup to confirm
Oh, okay.
what she took, what hours, and how much she paid.
So the way it works is, hang on 1 second, I apologize. So she is going to be taking, so this is the spring course schedule, and she's
Okay, we don't have to worry about that till next
No,
year.
no, that's right now.
No, she already took that, right?
She's taking these right now.
So that's why we don't have to discuss those until we confirm she passed.
Right, well, I mean, none of this we have to discuss until she passes, so you're right, we could just,
Oh.
all of these are based, so like right now, and now, based on the policy you just approved, we could just assume that, okay, whatever this is a 3-unit course, and they charge about $400 per unit, so, so it'll be about a $1,200 cost for that class, $1,200 class for that class, and a $400 cost for that class, ballpark, it's 4 and change. So, based on the policy you guys just approved, if it's like 12, 12, and 4, 24, 20, you know, let's just ballpark it up to 3,000. If her tuition is going to be 3,000 in the spring, if she gets all passing grades, we'll pay half of that, $1,500 for this semester. And then in the summer, she's taking 3 classes again, 3, 3, and 2. So that might be like $4,400 or $3,400. Again, if she gets all passing classes, that'll be another $1,500 or so. That brings her up to about 3,000. And then in the fall, she's taking 4 classes. So this semester here, if she's capped out at 4,000. She's taking all these classes. We might be only able to reimburse her another $1,000 that semester. That's where it's, you know, the goal of that policy was just to have kind of a set level of reimbursement and a maximum amount that you guys feel comfortable paying. So even though she's taking 4 classes that term, based on the policy, she's not going to get reimbursed for all those classes. She will max out her $4,000 annual cap, you know, before that term. I mean, she'll have a little bit left for that term, but that's about it. So
Now, will she owe us 1 year or 2 years, or how much will she owe us?
the policy as written was 1 year, and I know we did bring this up last semester, but it seemed like the general consensus is 1 year is about average.
Yeah.
So and
Since
that
the moment she was reimbursed, right?
yes.
Yeah.
So in theory, if she's taking, and correct my logic here, but if she, you know, gets reimbursed here, now we're in the fall, that reimbursement will have a year from that
Let's say she
point.
takes the finals in December and we are reimbursed her in January, then it's gonna be from January, right?
It's from whenever we reimburse her. So
Yeah.
whenever she submits that request, I would
And then,
think,
are we looking for our fiscal year or from January 1st to December 31st?
I'm sorry?
Physical year
Oh.
or annual year?
That is, I don't
Does it
think,
even say, I mean, I'm asking a question.
It does, the policy says physical, I think.
I'm just scrolling back. Yeah,
Yes.
because that is the point then too. So now this spring class and summer class could be
Same year, unless she waits.
fiscal year 22.
But she could technically wait like 5 months before asking for reimbursement and then
True.
move it over.
True. And then this fall 22. So if depending on when the summer classes end, if they end after June, that pushes her into fiscal 23. So in theory, these 3 classes here could get paid at half tuition in fiscal 22, and then the summer class and the fall classes will now be fiscal 23 classes with a brand new $4,000 cap. So, yeah.
Why are we paying only half? Why didn't you pay all of it?
Again, it
Is
was,
she part-time or full-time?
she's full-time. Yeah.
No, I'm just thinking, let's say,
No.
she passes all of those now in a spring,
Yeah.
you know, and you only pay her half of it, but then the next time she doesn't pass that grades, 2 of the classes, so now she's not gonna get the full amount of money, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying that she's done, but I'm just always.
No. I mean,
Right, policy-wise,
Yeah, so
policy-wise, it's
if-
written 1/2 of the tuition. So then, did we vote on that? Is that a thing?
yeah, you voted. It was
So-
part of the
Oh,
consent
never mind
agenda.
then.
I mean, are you?
I'm just saying,
No. Is it if the $4,000 cap stays the same? If we paid full tuition, it would just burn through that cap that much faster.
yeah, I know,
So-
so she goes through it, she goes through it.
Yeah, so you're right. We could have done the full tuition. I was just using other libraries as guides, and other libraries. There was a broad.
No, I was just thinking pay, and as soon as she gets to that point, okay,
Yeah,
that's it,
yeah.
we're done.
Right.
Yeah.
Alright,
I
so
think-
policy-wise, it is written 1/2 and it is written already physical year. So that's what it is.
Yeah.
So we'll let her know that she's tentatively approved.
Yeah, she just needs to
They're
submit it.
they're all
I
like
mean,
I said,
the grades and
they're all
from
they're all
there.
job related. She's getting her MLS degree, so it's information communications.
In our budget, do we have a line for this, or we budget
Yeah,
for
so
tuition?
going back into, going back into the budget document, we have,
Well, that would be development. wouldn't it?
exactly.
Okay, cool, as long as it's in there.
So, that's weird.
You passed it up, I saw when you were flipping.
That's fine, just as long as
Here
you
we go.
have.
So I bumped up, so our employee development covers
classes.
professional memberships, ALA, ILA. If someone signs up for a course through ILA or ALA, or Joanne took a course from HR Source on benchmarking salaries, that's all employee development.
So do you think 8,000 is a good number, or do you think that should be bumped up considering?
We could definitely bump that up. I tentatively bumped it up to 8,000. Is that?
Probably need to bump that up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say let's assume you will always have at least one employee getting the full 4,000,
Okay.
and that's minimum at least one employee,
Yeah.
plus all the year-round other employee stuff.
Okay.
So yeah, if you can bump that up a little bit.
I'll
that'd be
definitely just bump that up to 10,000,
great. At least 10?
Well,
You think 12?
12.
Do you know what we went through last
yeah,
year?
what the heck.
We didn't have anyone take part in employee, we haven't had anyone take part in, tuition reimbursement since maybe
But
20.
Joanne might be taking classes, we may have some other people taking some.
Yeah, well, I mean, Joanne took like a budget, it was not a university course, it was a like seminar through HR Source.
Right.
And there's always going to be those possible classes that people are taking. But we didn't have anyone take part in tuition reimbursement for school, I want to say since 2015 maybe. But yeah, no, I can bump that up to 12,000.
Put it to 12 and it will be covered.
Sure,
Yeah,
sure.
I like it.
Okay.
Okay, can we come out, motion to move, close out of, what am I trying to say? Motion to come out of closed session.
Make a motion.
Thank you.
Second it.
Thank you.
Okay, and Sam,
Yes.
Natasha,
Yes.
Edgar,
Yes.
Sylvia,
Yes.
Marge, yes, Rosa?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and again, you're never obligated to go into closed session, and in that case, if no one else was in the room, we didn't necessarily have to go into closed session.
But technically it's recorded.
Yeah,
But it's better to do it the right way, I know.
All right, then
Motion to adjourn?
motion, yeah. Do I need to go back?
Oh, no, wait.
Reconvene, yeah.
Yeah.
Motion to come back into regular meeting
I
at
also move,
8:12.
who's second?
Second.
Natasha, okay?
Yes.
Yeah, it's okay.
All right, no public comments, no other things. What am I wording? Motion to adjourn this meeting at 8:12 p.m.
oh,
Good catch.
well, I don't know, because she hasn't
She hasn't
applied.
submitted anything. We didn't have to go in closed session because we weren't voting.
I think because the policy is written now, and she also hasn't submitted grades yet, so there's nothing to approve. I think once she submits her grades showing proof of successful completion,
And then we have to.
then I believe that's when we could say, okay, yeah, we're approving that payment.
Would we, even if it's the policy, doesn't that happen?
No, because we have to make sure we have budget for it
Oh,
and
good point.
and her grade.
I guess, yeah, at that point, the board could decide not to, based on we're operating in the red, so we're gonna
Oh,
vote
okay,
against
yes,
that.
because we did say depending on
Yeah.
Yes, fun of it.
funding, yes, okay.
Okay, so motion to, we did this? Adjourn?
Yeah, and that probably could just be like a all in favor aye kind of thing.
Yeah, this, yes.
Yeah,
Hearing no objections, click,
Yeah.
we're done.
When we did Zoom meetings, every vote had to be a roll call vote,
Yeah.
but now that we're back in person, some of them could be,
Like you say, hearing no objections.
sure.
All right, then adjourned at 8:14 p.m. Thank you guys for staying late. Next month, we are gonna go around the building to make sure, just,
Oh, we're gonna do a
the
field trip?
overview, yeah.
Field trip,
The
yay!
shirts?
So,
They haven't arrived yet, they're supposed to arrive by like June 1st.
okay, so we
Why don't you
will,
see if you can order one for Deborah too?
I'll see if I can. If nothing else, I ordered one for myself, and I'll just give her mine temporarily, and I can order another one for her.
oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so be prompt for next month's meeting. Please, if you guys can, come out to the block party. I'm gonna buy freezy packs and we can just hand out freezy packs.
Yeah, you're gonna have jobs for us, right? We're gonna have assignments.
Yeah, I mean,
Come early to help set up. We can set up. Just send us an email.
yeah, and like the food line, handing out bags of chips at the food line, I
Yeah,
think.
give me an assignment, because I don't wanna just come here and have to stand around and say, oh, yeah, well, yeah, you could do
Welcome,
this.
welcome.
Please give me an assignment.
Okay, keep us updated for block party stuff.
Okay, and I'm probably gonna take the next couple days off on vacation, but if you guys need anything from me, just shoot me a text.
Enjoy.
Did you say you could have vacation?
Alright.
Hey, was your birthday or what?
Did you do that?
Happy birthday! Oh
Yeah, I don't know how available I will be for the kickoff. I have to be in Wisconsin, Janesville, by 4 o'clock,
Okay.
and it's a 3-hour drive. So